Welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about burnout. So, burnout for the midlife woman. I'm actually going to do a three-part series. We're going to talk about lifestyle, diet, gut, nervous system. So, today we're going to talk about lifestyle and how that affects burnout, particularly in midlife as you're going through perimenopause and menopause. So, welcome. My name is Angela Warburton. I am an Eastern medicine practitioner, holistic practitioner working with midlife women. I've been working with people in the clinic for the last 25 years, but I'm also a midlife woman and I know what it's like to go through this stage of life. And so I'm pulling all my training and wisdom from the clinic, but also my personal experience, what I've done, needed to do, and continue to do in my personal life and bringing it here in just bite-sized bits that you can integrate ideally into your daily life so that you feel better because this is a powerful time of life and it is a time of great transformation. It's called the second spring, midlife, menopause. But if you're suffering, it's a real thing. And so, really trying to give you practical tips to navigate this time with a little more ease, a little more delight, and a little more power. So, burnout, it's a real thing, and it is underlying so many of the symptoms we associate with midlife and menopause. We should transition through this stage. There'll be a bit of transition time, but it's very common now that women have extreme body symptoms or mental health issues that come up around midlife and menopause. It's common, but that's not necessarily normal, meaning there's a reason that they're there. And when there's a reason beyond menopause, there's something that you can do to help bring that balance back and to help your body thrive during this time versus just barely get by and survive. And so one of the key things is burnout. So what is burnout? It can look different for different people. Basically, a really simple way to put it is our body has overused resources and it's coming from a place of overdraft versus abundance. And when we're burned out, it can suck the joy out of life. We can lose energy, not be sleeping or needing to sleep too much. It can have a huge impact on our hormones and just our vitality and joy for showing up in life. And so there's multiple things that contribute to burnout. It's not one thing. But the nice thing is when we approach it from multiple ways, that there's a lot that we can do to help rebound and to help support our system. So let's talk a little bit about lifestyle. So lifestyle is how we're living our day-to-day life. We're going to talk about the diet and how we're eating and that in another component, but just the lifestyle. What do your days look like? How are they? What's filling up your days? How are they running? What do you feel like in your day? There's a lot of hidden stressors in our daily life. We have a culture that's operating at an unprecedented speed. The amount of information that's coming in, we're consuming so much information, we're inundated with it, can't get away from it. We have our phones that are setting up our brains, just we can't concentrate the same way. It's a bit addictive. We have news and media that is either it's pleasure media, things that we're consuming, movies that are highly stressful, often very disturbing, very violent. That affects our nervous system because we don't know the difference. Our body doesn't know the difference, but also media that is very fear driven. So we're living with it. But just there's a lot going on in the world too. So there can be this low level fear. And then it's like, how are you living? Are you busy all the time? Are your days crammed full of things? Do you barely have time for yourself? Do you override any desire or need that you have to take more downtime to create a little more space in your day and either feel guilty, feel like you're letting people down, feel uncomfortable if you stop? So there can be these hidden stressors of ways that we are operating that put our body into a bit of overdraft. I call it the inner bully sometimes when we're bullying ourselves to keep going. I've got to do this. I'll let people down. I can't cancel. Oh, yeah, it's just one more thing. I can do it. So pushing beyond your personal limit is a huge contributor to burnout. So in Eastern medicine, there's two systems. In five element theory, there are five different body systems. They all work together. We are an ecosystem. So everything is working together. But there are two systems in particular that I see that get affected by our modern living and burnout. And they are the liver system and the kidney systems. So we can think of the liver and the kidneys as organs in our body, and that is true in Eastern medicine as well. But we go beyond just thinking about the organs, and we look at this more of a system in the body. So each system has an organ, it has a taste, it has an emotion, it has a food, it has a sound, it has all kinds of different components that show us how that tell us where it is in balance or out of balance in the body. So the kidney system is like our internal bank account of energy. It's like our inner juice. We call it, it houses something called Jing. That's our resources, our like a bank account, like I said. It also, the kidneys house our adrenal glands. So that's like our emergency gland. When we're in a state of emergency, fight or flight, we need to get out of the way of danger. Our body is flooded with emergency hormones. So that would be cortisol and adrenaline. And that gives us that energy to get out of the way of danger, have extra strength. Unfortunately, in our world, we tend to be thinking there are a lot more emergencies than there are. So things like running late, media, like I talked about, the rushing syndrome, the busy woman syndrome. So rush, 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 doing stuff, stuffing our days to fill, as I mentioned, being overwhelmed with the amount to do, our relationships, even things like stimulants tell our body, it sort of floods our body with these hormones or chemicals too that have us operate in this sort of emergency state. Over time, if we continue to operate at this high level, it's kind of like having your foot on the gas fully, and sometimes like on the brake at the same time, we just burn out. And so it's okay to have stress. We're meant to have stress, but when we're operating in high levels of stress constantly and not dropping into that relaxed state, that's when we can get into a state of burnout. So the kidney system really, I'll talk about foods on the next video, but the kidney system needs proper movement with proper rest. It loves nutrient-dense food. It really will show up when it's out of balance in that afternoon period between 3 to 5 p.m. If you're noticing, you kind of completely get knocked out at that time. You're just like, oh my gosh, I need a nap. You're turning to coffee or to sweets. That's a sign that that fatigue is a sign that this system needs replenishment. So instead of going to coffee or grabbing some sort of stimulant, a great thing to do at this time, if you have resources, do a little meditation, put your feet up, do a restorative yoga pose. If you can take a nap, take a nap. I've had clients that just penciled in or put in their calendars downtime, and they'd make a tea and they'd read a book or they do something very calming. Rest at this time can be really helpful just to replenish your body's energy. So noticing if you're pushing through, overriding, particularly at that time of day, like, could you scale it back and do something different? Not a lot of people they're picking up kids at that time or they're doing busy things. So even just preemptively creating space before that time in some way, just taking time at lunch, taking a gentle walk, doing little things that give your body and that mind a little bit of spaciousness. There's a 1-minute meditation prompt that I have coming up. It's like, just do one thing. And that's a really nice thing to do. Just these micro moments of resting can be really, really helpful, particularly for this kidney system. And then the other system is the liver. So the liver system, we think of it in the Western perspective, it's important for filtering toxins. It helps to produce hormones. It helps to get rid of excess hormones. It's a key organ for so many different pathways and functions in the body. In Eastern medicine, we say the liver system helps to circulate energy or qi in the body. And when we're feeling really stressed or overwhelmed, that liver system, we get a lot of tension in our shoulders, maybe get tension in the occipital area, headaches that wrap around the side of the head, feeling constricted in your, excuse me, in your diaphragm. If you get alternating bowels like IBS-like symptoms, you're constipated or have pebbly poops, or then you alternate between loose poops and that. If you're just constantly stressed, feeling irritable, like snappy at people, this is a sign this liver system is out of balance. And so we want to make sure that there's smooth flow both energetically, emotionally, and physically. And this is going to help the liver system. So moving is really important. So making sure you're not sitting for long periods of time, particularly sitting under stress, because that floods our body with this energy, but we're sitting there and it's just kind of circulating in our system. So making sure you're getting up and moving. Check out my Just One Thing video on micro movements. That's going to help circulate. Noticing emotions. The liver system is, its role is to help circulate or to manage all emotions, but in particular, irritation, frustration, anger is a sign from this system being off of balance. So finding healthy ways to express your emotions, just acknowledging what's there, letting them be there, not trying to push it away, or I shouldn't feel this way, or somehow overriding whatever you feel, justifying it in some way that sort of pushes it away. All emotions, they're not right or wrong. They're all there. They all are giving us some bit of information. So honoring these emotions is really, really key for not stressing our bodies more, for not repressing things and allowing them to come out and to have space. And then it's obviously healthy expression of those emotions. So there's a lot of work that I do with people too, like just journaling them, expressing them. Movement therapy can be so important. Let yourself emote. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to laugh, laugh. All these things, if you need to have a conversation with someone, having a healthy conversation so it doesn't come out sideways as like a snap or a bite, but is more about, especially around midlife and menopause, a lot of our priorities change, our capacity changes, what we want to do and don't want to do is going to change. So knowing that's normal and not trying to stuff yourself in a box from previous ways, but recognize, oh, this doesn't feel as good anymore. There's something here for me to see. So looking at what wants to be heard, what emotions are coming up, giving them some airtime, first and foremost to yourself, writing it out, something where you can process them, and then take action in a healthy way wherever that needs to be. So, feel what you feel, signal safety to your body. That can come through. We're going to talk about foods next time, but certainly listening to your body, moving and resting, and just resting and taking time for yourself, particularly in the afternoon, can be little things, very little things. There's a lot to it. I understand. I'm just trying to simplify this and give you some simple things, but they can make a big difference over time. So just notice where you're bullying yourself, where you're overriding your need to rest or to have some space. If you notice that you're tired in the afternoon, taking time to rest and have time in the afternoon. If you're noticing that you're feeling very stressed, a lot of emotions are coming up and they're kind of they're coming out wrong, not wrong. They're coming out in a way that maybe isn't so helpful or so kind to yourself or to others. And so really trying to create a little space for you to process them and have them. So all of those are really important. And just looking to, when we're looking at burnout, rest is really important. So not just rest at night, obviously that's important, but rest in all forms, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual. All of those are important. Midlife and menopause calls for more time going inwards, more time for yourself, more time to feel what you feel. And so carving that out is a must. And then letting yourself rest if you need social rest, booking off time and not spending time with people. Physically putting your feet up. I love restorative yoga for this. Emotionally, creative rest, whatever that is that you need, taking that time to go inwards. So I hope that was helpful. We gave you a little bit of something just when looking at burnout, some simple lifestyle things that you can do. And then next time, I'm going to talk a little bit about some foods and some looking at the gut a little bit more when it comes to burnout. Okay, thanks for being here. If you like this video, hit like. If you know someone that would benefit from it, please forward it on. I am here to help as many women thrive during this time as I can. And I do take requests. This was actually a request. So thank you for being here. I will see you next time.